Now, honestly though, now I'm at the point where um I could get rid of a lot of stuff. I've seen people live in tiny homes and still have a lot of stuff. That would be me. Are you getting tired of seeing me in my car yet? I'm getting tired of being in my car. It's become my studio or my set. Oh, well, I've only had one order, but I just started, so that's good. I listen to Jack Morgan every day. I love him. If you're not listening to him, he's got two channels. He's got Jack Morgan, his first one, and then he's got Jack Morgan 2.0, which is the one that he featured me on. And he's just got some good content. It's mainly about, what's going on in today's economy. Talks about that a lot. Um, the boomers. Everybody hates the boomers. I don't. I am one. It was just interesting. One of the shows was about people living in their storage unit. Because that's the thing. Even these people that are moving into RVs or moving into vans or whatever, they don't want to get rid of their stuff because they're hoping to eventually get back into, sticks and bricks. So they keep their stuff, but it costs a lot to keep your stuff, so they always have to rent a storage unit. And man, those things are pricey. They're not cheap. And so they'll rent them. And sometimes they will sneak into them at night and, sleep in them. I think they're cracking down on that because they can tell when somebody's there. But yeah, they were just talking about people trying to do that. Thing is, if you're moving into, your RV or van to save money, you need to figure out how long you need to set an end goal and say, we're going to do this for this amount of time, and then figure out how much it's going to cost to have your stuff in storage for that amount of time, and think about, well, is my stuff worth that? If I'm going to be paying $300 a month to store all my stuff for a year, do I have, $3,000 worth of stuff I'm storing? You have to decide if, because people are doing it for a couple years. And I've seen people do it and pay and pay and pay, and then finally just let it go after they've paid thousands because they realize they didn't need that stuff. They don't even go to check on it. It's just sitting in their storage. Such a waste. But it's hard to get rid of stuff and things. I was saying that was my only hindrance to getting a tiny home, because I like the idea of smaller living. It just seems cozy and less maintenance and all that stuff. But I admitted I like stuff, and I wouldn't have room for all my stuff, so I would have to get another tiny home just for my stuff. So it wouldn't make sense for me. If I was going to do that, I would have to get rid of everything. Otherwise, there would be no point. So, I don't know. What's the max tiny home? What's the max size on a tiny home? Now, honestly though, now I'm at the point where I could get rid of a lot of stuff. I've seen people live in tiny homes and still have a lot of stuff. That would be me. If I could figure out a way to keep a lot of my stuff, not all of it, I could downsize. Obviously, I'm not going to need 2 living rooms. You get rid of, your living room, and a lot of people don't even have a dining room in these tiny homes, which is fine. I would do like a patio, and because I would sit outside a lot, and you have patio furniture. That would be my dining room area, or we eat at the couch or whatnot. So you could get rid of dining room furniture, your family room or den or whatever, and just have your basic living room, the kitchen, your bedroom, and then and bathroom and laundry room. And then have a shed. But there's I keep things like pictures and cards from my kids, and memorabilia, things from my mom, stuff like that. It's not a lot, but I would want to keep that kind of stuff. I'd have to find a way, but I wouldn't want to, like I said, get a tiny home and then pay so much to store all my stuff. It just doesn't seem like it makes sense. But do I have any subs here that live in a tiny home? If you do, I want to hear about it, because I am fascinated with that. I've stayed in a couple tiny homes. We've gone on vacation, and I thought they make an ideal vacation home. And they're just darling. We stayed in one up at, I think it was Three Rivers or Trinity. It was up in Northern California. We go up there a lot, to see our daughter, and she went to school up there, and so did my oldest son years ago, and so we would go up and see him, and we'd always rent like an Airbnb or something, and now a lot of people have those tiny homes, so I would rent those. We rented a yurt one time too, because you just want to see what it's like, so it's just fun. But yeah, the tiny homes, they were two-story, but the upper story was really, the ceiling, you had to crawl around on your knees. It was great for my grandkids. They had a ball. They thought it was fun. And it would be great for storage. I would use it for storage, but I wouldn't, can't stand up and walk around. That would be kind of hard. But we did that up there, and then we did it again in the Sierras. We rented a cabin, and it was just darling, and nice bedroom and kitchen and bathroom and room for laundry, and yeah, I could totally do that. But there's a lot of rules and regulations. You can't set up a tiny home just everywhere, especially in California. There's none where I'm at, because I looked into it, because when it first became a thing, I was like, I'm going to buy a property, and I'm going to put on several of those tiny homes, and I was going to rent them out, and I was going to live on the property. I just had this plan, and I had seen somebody else that had done that. They did it in Julian down near San Diego. I had watched it. Well, that's the only one. They don't have any other ones. I don't even know how they got to do it, but you can't do that anywhere. They won't let you do that. But I guess maybe in other states. But there's places in California, just not where I'm at. We would have to move up north. I guess you could do it, but God, I just love the idea. I don't like having I like having a big house for space and for when the whole family gets together a couple times a year. But day-to-day living, just me and my husband having the upkeep of the house, it's becoming obnoxious. You know what I mean? Because even though it's just the two of us, my cat makes a big mess. I'm not kidding you. I am going to show you the mess he makes in his area. He's got we have a big circular hallway upstairs, and it's his, and it's a mess. But anyway, yeah, 3 bathrooms for 2 people, because we got the guest bathroom, and I use my own bathroom, and he uses his, and it's getting to be too much. I feel like I'm a slave to the house. So, but I don't want to get rid of my home. It's almost paid for. I love, and it's not that big. It's not like we have this, 3,500 square foot home. But at the same time, a tiny home would be very cozy. But I need a guest room, because we're always going to have somebody hanging out or staying with us. So maybe put 2 tiny homes together, and then it'd be the same size as my house. Oh, I don't know. What the heck, man? How long have I been out here? And only got 1 order? Come on. Thursday nights are usually my good night, too. I think I'm going to move. Let's go somewhere else. I think that makes a difference. We'll find out. Okay, guys. Well, I did end up moving, and I got a couple more orders. Jan, stop. He's going to knock me over. He's rubbing up against my leg so hard. But anyway, yeah, I ended up moving, and I got a couple more orders, which was good. But then I ended up going to the store and spending all the money I made tonight on snacks for my grandkids for this weekend. So, but that's okay, because I'm going to go back out tomorrow. And I wanted to tell you tonight, I told you my brother and I, we communicate through Instagram. We send each other inappropriate memes. And tonight he had sent me some memes, and I'm reading through them, and I'm just dying. And I closed it out, but I didn't shut it out all the way, and I had Bluetooth on, so I kept playing one of the memes on my stereo, and it just kept playing it over and over, and I'm driving down the street, and it was so funny. I was laughing so hard that I was crying, and my makeup was coming off, and it was getting in my eyes. I could barely see, so I had to pull over for a little bit, because I couldn't stop laughing. So I pulled over, and I probably looked ridiculous, because I'm totally alone, and it's right by the cop shop. And a cop drove by me. I was so afraid he was going to flip a U-turn and come back. It's like, why is this lady sitting in her car just laughing hysterically? I looked like I was stoned out of my mind. But anyway, I can't even share them with you because they're so inappropriate. And the one, oh my God, it's so bad because it looked and sounded like one of our aunts. And I can't say on here. But it just sounded just like her. And I was dying. It was so wonderful. But my God, laughter is the best medicine when you're down or you're sick. Let me tell you, because I just felt so much better. And so anyway, I messaged him and I said, I had to pull over tonight because I thought I was going to get into an accident because of the memes you're sending me. So what did he do? He turned around and sent me two more that were even funnier. And I was like, that's it. I can't even drive. So I thought I'm just gonna have to shut this down. But anyway, um, I am gonna take some time now. I'm gonna drink my tea. I took my head wrap off. Oh, it feels so good. It's like I know I got a hat head, but oh, you know that feeling when you take your hat off or your wig off if you wear wigs. It just feels so good. But I'm going to drink my elderberry tea and I'm going to respond to your comments. So thanks again, guys, and I will see you in the next video.